Drive with Dan Wootton on Talk Radio.
The fact that the tourist hotspots of the Balearic and Canary Islands have been included as part of the ban, despite the fact that the outbreaks are not there. So what do you think? Should we take a summer holiday and support tourism, or will this risk a second spike in the UK? Well, Lloyd Figgins is the chairman of the Trip Group and a travel risk expert. He joins me now. So, Lloyd, was this government decision heavy-handed, given that the Spanish cases are still relatively low, especially in the Balearic and Canary Islands?
Good evening, Dan. I think we've got to take this on two levels, actually. I think the blanket ban across Spain, bearing in mind that Spain has been open to Spanish tourists for a lot longer than it's been open to international tourists, is a cause for concern in the mainland. The addition of the Balearic Islands and the Canary Islands is slightly a bit of a mystery, if I'm honest with you, because of the fact the only reason I can see that they would have done that is because you've got people travelling from areas like Aragon and Catalonia, where there are higher levels of it. And so unless they're going to have that lockdown within Spain, then it is going to put foreign travellers at risk. So I think that's probably the thinking behind it.
But surely the Canary Islands and the Balearic should be exempt from the ban in that case, especially given that they include such popular tourist destinations like Mallorca and Ibiza and Tenerife and Lanzarote. You know, that's where Brits travel, and there really is nothing unsafe about Brits going there at the moment. The infection rates on those islands are all minuscule.
Well, I think what we've got to remember, Dan, is that COVID-19 didn't move from that wet market in Wuhan until human beings actually transmitted it and transported it. And so I think that the danger here is that when we have got these air corridors open, great to have them open, and I'm an advocate of that. But we've also got to take a risk management approach to this. We can't be judged, or we can't be influenced by the need to go on holiday, the want to go on holiday, those emotional decision-making things, or indeed the commercial side of it. So when you hear about people saying, yes, the travel industry has been really poorly affected, it has, and my heart goes out to everybody involved in that. But at the end of the day, we've got to look at preserving human life and making sure we're doing everything we can to reduce the impact of this terrible virus.
Well, of course we do. But if you look at the case or infection rate in Ibiza or Lanzarote or Tenerife, it's incredibly low. So you can understand why Brits are going to be furious about the fact that they're being told by the government to quarantine for 2 weeks when they arrive back.
I absolutely agree.
I mean, it's nonsensical.
Well, I wouldn't say it's nonsensical, because all the decisions that are being made are based on hard fact, which is coming from scientific and medical experts. But I do think there's things that we can actually do to solutionize this. One of the solutions could be this testing at airports. And when I'm talking about testing, I'm talking about the PCR swab tests, which Collinson and Swissport have proposed to the government, which would give you an indication there if somebody actually has the virus active in their system. And if they haven't, if they test negative, let them go about their business and let them go about their holiday.
That's a good idea. Why has it not been done?
Well, Collinson and Swissport have had this in place, and they've put the proposal to the government, and it's been there for about 6 weeks. They still haven't received the green light on it. I think this is the most proactive approach that I've seen as a risk management professional in getting those air corridors open and keeping them open, and letting those who are not affected by this virus to go about their business, and those who are affected, then you can quarantine exactly the communities who do have the virus. So for me, it's a case of the government getting on top of this and looking at other solutions rather than perhaps just their own resources within the Sage Group.
And Lloyd, just finally, what about people coming back to the UK? Why can't they just be tested, and then if they test negative, be allowed out of quarantine?
Well, I mean, they can actually get their own tests, Dan. So, but
but they still officially have to quarantine even if they've been tested.
Yeah, they do at the moment, but that's why I think the rolling out of these tests needs to be on a much larger scale, and it needs to be at point of entry. so that you know that when you arrive back in that country, it's kind of like going down the red channel or the green channel. You know, if you test negative, you go down that green channel. If you test positive, you're going into the quarantine red channel. And I think that that's the sort of thing we need to look at, because, you know, we can't keep on having air corridors opening and air corridors closing. That is going to cause absolute mayhem across the travel industry and all the industries that are affected by people.
Exactly, there needs to be a degree of certainty, or these industries are just going to die the most painful death. And by the way, it's not about industries for me, it's about jobs. It's about hundreds of thousands of jobs for Brits, and we have to try and protect them. Lloyd Figgins, chairman of the Trip Group and a travel risk expert, thank you so much.